And what we'll simply be doing to begin is sitting in with good posture in a mindful way to just take a few breaths. And for this little bit, you won't need to see me. So feel free to turn away from your screen entirely if that's more supportive for you, because it can be tiring to be right up close to the screen for the whole meeting. And we're going to step out of our chairs ever so slightly so that we can settle back into the chair in a very grounded, settled way, just for a couple of moments. And if it's comfortable for you, 2 feet on the floor. And if you're sitting on a chair where your feet aren't quite touching the floor, for future courses, I'll invite you to pop a little cushion or a pillow under the feet so that you're aware of the earth under the soles of the feet. We're going to sit in a kind of tall, relaxed, spacious way, not too rigid or uptight in the body, more a feeling of being upright. And then, if it feels supportive for you, an invitation to just tune into the breath as it is. The breath coming into the body and the out breath as it leaves the body. If tuning into the breath isn't supportive for you, I suggest just a soft gaze somewhere in the room that you're in, maybe something pleasant to rest the eyes on for a couple of moments. The intention here is just simply to allow you to settle, be a little bit still, and to focus your attention on something. The invitation now is to focus your attention on just 3 breaths. And the breath is smooth and unrushed and spacious, your own natural way of breathing. And then one last breath. And now, if the eyes have been closed, an invitation for you to open up the eyes, become fully present in the room that you're in, fully present in your body, and you're more than welcome to come back to the screen if you'd like to. I'll be talking you through a little bit of what to expect in the course, and specifically your course booklet. If you haven't printed it yet, don't worry. You can pick one up the next time you're at the clinic, or you can print it at home in sections. And throughout the booklet, I have some little quotes. Our quote for tonight, I will be reading at the end by the author, Viktor Frankl. And it encourages just to acknowledge in life, there's always an opportunity for a little bit of a space between stimulus and response. The booklet, and I'll leave you to read this. I'm not going to read this in detail tonight. It goes into a little bit about the background of mindfulness-based courses, the benefits of establishing a mindfulness practice, including things like lower stress, greater immunity, good for the mind and the body, our mindfulness practices. You'll have a little bit of background there about the group sessions and the personal practice and what's expected of you. I would suggest a minimum of 10 minutes a day, 6 days out of 7 while you're doing the course. But then tonight is one practice day. So it'll be 5 more days. And at times throughout the course, the practices that I suggest for you are longer than 10 minutes. We have a couple of weeks where the practices I'll be suggesting for you are up to 30 minutes. But on those weeks, I give you alternatives for shorter practices as well, because I know life is busy and I don't want the course to be off-putting. The intention is that the course for you is supportive and pleasant and something that you look forward to doing. The manual is really supportive and it's designed to be interesting. There are journaling prompts in there. There are diagrams. There are different ideas of how you might just, I suppose, investigate your outlook on life. So I'd encourage you to read over the booklet throughout the week several times. When I was doing my courses like this, when I undertook, a lifestyle change and a course like this, for me, the best time to do my reading was first thing in the morning. I set my alarm a little bit early. I would get a cup of coffee and I would go back up to bed. and I would take maybe 10 minutes quietly in bed, reading through my course material. I also find it's a nice time of day to jot down a few things. Now, maybe for you, you're a night owl or you have space during the day for reading or reflection. So maybe just have a think about where that space might fit into your life. And of course, once we've made that space for ourselves, it's a little bit of space for ourselves ongoing for whatever you might put into that time in your life, whether it's a bit of journaling, a little bit of breath work. We'll be doing together a little bit of mindful movement, which is like yoga, really simple stretching. And all of these practices are really supportive on a daily basis, ongoing for all of us. You'll see in your manual straight up for your homework for this week, or even some of you might have done it already, just a few little journaling prompts. What do I hope for myself? What's the hope for the outcome of the course? It goes into a few little definitions of mindfulness, and these are all really nice quotes and material that will be supportive for you as you read the course. And then we go on to the course outline. It's suggested when you come to the course outline piece that you don't read the whole book all the way to the end. You just read the section that's relevant. So tonight it'll be section 1. And in section 1 and in each week, we learn 2 practices. One is usually based on psychology. I'll be teaching you a little bit about the learnings of the mind. As my training as your mindfulness teacher, I also have a background in neuroscience and psychology. So everything that I'm teaching you is very much grounded in solid science and is scientifically proven to have an impact on the thinking patterns of the mind. We'll also each week do a practical practice, something that's pleasant and supportive in living life mindfully. So I'm going to begin with our first practical practice tonight. It's called the 3-step anchor space. You have in your course handbook written instructions. You also have a recording on SoundCloud, so you can listen to my voice guiding you through this practice for 3 minutes. And that will be your suggested homework for the week, to listen to that 3-minute practice. And today we're going to do it together with a little visual aid. So preparing now for the 3-step anchor space. And our little visual aid is this very nice hourglass or egg timer. And in this practice, we consider the narrow piece of the hourglass or the egg timer to be the place where we focus our attention when we have a moment to come to do the practice. We've already explored how breath can focus the attention and be a supportive anchor. If breath doesn't suit you, you could always focus your attention on something that you could look at. For example, a bunch of flowers in your room. We do it naturally in nature, you know, a tree, something outside your window, a sunrise or a sunset, a beautiful moon. There are many things that we can use to calm and still the mind for a couple of moments. As we know, music can be really supportive as an anchor, as something to focus your attention on and to quieten the mind. So we'll be exploring throughout the course what the anchor might be for you. The top piece of the hourglass symbolizes the natural state of being that we all occupy with the noisy, busy mind. And in beginning the 3-step anchor space, the first thing we do is just recognize, how am I? What's going on for me in life? We take a moment to just take a look at how things are. For example, I'm busy, I'm rushed, I'm a bit hungry, I'm a bit tired, I didn't sleep so well last night, I'm looking forward to the weekend. You know, whatever is occupying the busy mind. Once we've acknowledged that, we take a couple of moments to focus the attention. And then the bottom piece of the hourglass is where the magic happens. Down at the bottom piece of the hourglass, we're encouraged to expand our awareness to include the body as a whole. And that might just quite simply be feeling the support of the chair underneath you, or feeling the support of your feet on the floor, feeling the sensations of breathing coming in and out of the body. Maybe noticing the expression on your face and softening any lines of tension in the face. So in the bottom piece of the hourglass, we're encouraged to be more mindfully present in the body as a whole. Noticing maybe the temperature of the air in the room and your skin. When we're outside in nature, we can notice the breeze, the sunshine on our skin. So it's this very skilled practice of inhabiting the body. And just for the last couple of moments, as the sound filters through here, this is a 3-minute timer. I'm going to just talk us through that 3-minute anchor space. And I'm going to invite you one more time to sit back in your chair. And if you can, the feet are touching the floor. Your posture is upright, but not uptight. So kind of relaxed and spacious. And just for a couple of moments as we settle in here, as if you were chatting to a very good friend, how are you feeling in your thoughts, in your mind, in your life, in your body? What's going on for you? And now for just 3 breaths, awareness to your anchor, whether it's the sensations of breathing or something you've chosen to take a soft gaze to in your room. And then from there, an invitation to expand your awareness to include the body as a whole. Maybe just simply noticing the weight of your body supported by the chair, or the solid nature of the feet touching the floor. And the mind, of course, will wander in all of this. You'll find yourself back up in the top piece of the hourglass, maybe thinking about something. A thought flashes into your mind, no big deal. Come back through the funnel to your focal point and back to your body as a whole. Last couple of moments here, fully inhabiting the body. If the eyes have been closed, opening the eyes. You've just taken a 3-minute, 3-step anchor space, but your 3-step anchor space could take up 3 breaths. You might find yourself during the day getting a little bit het up or rushed or impatient or anxious. For me, it's heavy traffic. Heavy traffic just drives me mad. And I've trained myself to think, back to the breath, back to the body, standing in a queue in a shop. We can begin to weave these little mindful moments and these mindfulness practices into life. And this is just simply a structure. Awareness of the crazy mind, focused attention for a couple of moments, maybe 3 breaths, awareness down into the body. So you have your notes and you have your recording on that. I'm wondering, before we go to the next practice, would anybody like to put into chat how they are feeling after having done the 3-step anchor space? Anything at all that arises. And if you're not used to Zoom, you're going to look along the bottom line with all of your icons down there, and there's a little icon that says chat. And in chat, when you click it, it says everyone, and you can pop something up. I'm going to write into chat now. What are you feeling in your body? Oh, lovely. Thanks, Anna. That's great. Ooh, I love it. Well done. Oh, that's lovely. That's great to hear. Thank you so much for your participation there. Brilliant. So we'll pause the chat for a moment, and we're going to go on to our practical practice for today, the window of tolerance. Before I pull up the graphic, because I'm not 100% sure I'll be able to, you do have it in your manual. This is one of my favorite graphics in the whole manual. It's a little boat. This is probably back to front here, but you can see the little boat, and the little boat is sailing along. And really what this graphic teaches us is how to recognize for ourselves. And believe me, this is a skill, how to recognize when our nervous system is dysregulated. And it teaches us the skills to regulate the nervous system. So just when we speak a little bit about the nervous system, just a couple of things for you to contemplate. They do say in our post-COVID world that most of us are walking around slightly stressed most of the time. And in fact, they say it's almost impossible to be a functioning adult in today's world and not be slightly traumatized by the events of the world. And really, it's because we're all so exposed all the time to the news. And let's face it, sometimes the news out there is absolutely horrific. And I know we're all skilled at not necessarily dwelling on the negative or tuning into the news the whole time. And of course, we would have fluctuated in and out of that during the pandemic. Nonetheless, there's a real recognition now that many of us live in a mild state of stress a lot of the time. And of course, when we're stressed, our habits aren't good. Many of us, when we're stressed, will eat the wrong food, or we're too busy to prepare our food properly. And we all know that when we're in that state of being where our nervous system is regulated and we're calm and relaxed and performing well, that's when we make our best choices. So it's a really valuable skill for us to notice when we are becoming dysregulated in the nervous system. What's really interesting is we can all relate to the state of fight and flight, which have been talked about for decades, and we all know it well, the fight and flight. Heart racing, stressed, busy, rushing around, anxious, doing too much. But there's another state of nervous system dysregulation, and they call it several things, sometimes freeze or fawn. And it's when we become kind of dull and checked out. Energy is low. We're not really in the mood for engaging. We want to just curl up on the couch with Netflix and some bad food. I know for me, for example, I make my worst decisions around food and consumption in general, consumption of social media, alcohol, all of that, when I'm in the low part of nervous system dysregulation. But we'll all be slightly different there. And that's what we'll learn a little bit more about on this course. What throws us off, how we recognize ourselves becoming thrown off, and how we get ourselves back into that healthy place of being where things are plain sailing. So let me just see if I can pull up the window of tolerance here. Share in meeting. Great, I think it's going to work. Fantastic. So this is just a little bit about the background. The window of tolerance was created by a clinical professor of psychiatry, Dan Siegel, and it describes the best state of arousal or stimulation in which we are able to function and thrive in everyday life. Being within the window allows us to effectively play, learn, connect with others and ourselves, and to make good decisions. So you'll see here in the middle piece of the graphic, the smooth sailing. This is the optimal arousal zone. We're carrying on with daily life in the river of well-being. Up here, hyperarousal, emotional overwhelm, panic, feeling unsafe, angry, racing thoughts, anxiety. And then down here, hypoarousal, numb. No feelings or energy, can't think, shut down, ashamed, disconnected, and depressed. Ideally, we spend much of our life in here, in the window of tolerance. And also what you'll find on this course is that your window of tolerance will expand. So that's the other thing that we get used to. Just even in our 3-step anchor space, you learn to sit a little bit with quiet, with discomfort sometimes. I like to compare this with cold water immersion. You know, we're all getting a little braver now with dipping into the cold sea or trying an ice bath or something. And the first time we try it, it's intolerable. We can only stay a second. It's like, ah. And then next time we go in, it gets a little easier, and so on and so on. And the window of tolerance expands. And this is true, of course, of life experience too. In the bottom piece of the graphic, you have the grounding skills that can help you come back into your window of tolerance, optimal arousal zone, taking slow breaths, and in particular, the out breath, the exhale, slow and complete. Standing tall or sitting tall and feeling the ground beneath you, that's immediately grounding the awareness to the chair or the floor beneath you. Going for a walk, as we know, being in nature. Noticing your feet connecting with the floor, listening to music, or just chatting to a friend can be really supportive. So maybe if it's helpful for you now, if you have the graphic or when you print your course handbook, you just expand on this little bit and find stuff that's very particular to you. Maybe having a bath, maybe aromatherapy, being in nature, maybe cuddling your pets, cuddling a loved one. So there are many, many things that we can use as these grounding skills. And we're going to learn a little more about ourselves in what helps keep us grounded. We might recognize times where we do become over aroused. For me, it's traffic, planning too much in my day. And then recognize the times in life. And, it's normal and natural for us to be tired and have duvet days, but we want to avoid them being depleting. We want to have those duvet days as something that's more nourishing and something that we might choose. So I'm going to close this graphic now, if that is possible for me. Great. And I'm just wondering, I'm going to do a quick time check because I'd like to be very respectful of your time in the meeting. Great. So we have just 3 minutes left to bring us up to the official 8 p.m. close of the meeting, but we do have the opportunity to roll over for another 10 minutes. So I'm just wondering for this last little bit, if anyone would like to unmute themselves and say anything about the window of tolerance, anything that resonated, any questions, anything applicable to your life, anything you know about yourself when you're up in the hyperarousal or when you're down in the hypoarousal, any particular grounding skills that you know you have in your life that you would like to add to the list there, or just anything at all about the meeting to date and what has arisen for you.
May I ask? I'm just wondering when you say the hyper, when like if you are not really panicky, like unhappy panicky, but you are actually over happy. Like
Interesting.
like
Yeah,
I would feel that I would be moments, especially now, like when things are going well, like I get like over
sure.
excitingly happy. And
Yeah,
I'm actually wondering if that's something that I should also know how to control and bring it back, or is it okay to be happy, over
yeah,
happy about it?
brilliant. Yeah, that's a brilliant question. So first of all, well done on recognizing that and articulating it. And in fact, I'd encourage you to write that in, and maybe for all of us, because it's us and our loved ones that we live in the life with. So recognizing that, yeah, hyper arousal also includes maybe too excited, talking too much, the person at the party that's dancing too much, having too many shots. Like everything in life, balance is good. Too much is a warning sign. So yeah, it's great to be really happy. We love Christmas, we love birthdays, we love going into town and doing a bit of shopping, but awareness to that bit where it just gets too much. And I think the skill that we're developing here is kind of noticing what's happening around that as well. So what brings me to the point where I am overindulging in this happy, excited state? Should I maybe step back a little bit and take a quiet moment to myself? Maybe at the beginning of the party, should I just be a little quieter, maybe step outside for a moment? And what we'll be learning in this course are the signals in the body. For example, is my heart beating too fast? Is my mind racing? Am I talking too much? So we just become a little more attuned to the little messages from the body, and then choosing the wise action to maybe pull back a little bit and bring ourselves back into that middly piece.
Because at the same time, I think that it's important that people now not over criticizing themselves, that they are
100%,
also themselves. But
for
I'm just
sure.
thinking that is that type of thing also that if you're over happy of something, is that then leading to the over unhappy and over criticizing? Like you could be almost too happy about yourself and then
Exactly.
almost too unhappy about yourself and
Yeah,
not forgiving yourself if you do something that you had planned to do and you sort of disappointed yourself.
correct. Yeah, absolutely. Self-compassion and holding back from criticizing ourselves is a huge part of this course. And of course, it comes into everything we do. But you can see on your little, plain sailing graphic, like as we know of ourselves in life, if the little ship goes too much up there, it's going to come crashing back down. And we want the little boat to be bobbing along in the middle. And as I said already, we can learn to expand this window of tolerance. So you still can have days where you're partying and enjoying yourself, but you're just not going to that point where it's too much. And yeah, another point that you made there, Ava, about self-criticism and stuff, criticism is so negative for us that criticism by ourselves to ourselves and others to us will cause that extreme up and down of the boat, the crash right down if we're harshly critical of ourselves. So to be mindful of that, to be aware of the natural human condition and just a little more forgiving around that. Does that make sense? Have you anything else to add? All good. Anybody else have anything similar or different?
I think the connection with nature helps. I know today I had a lot of things to balance throughout the day, and they were all very different things. And I got a terrible headache then later this evening, and it was probably just tension with everything. And I did go out for a walk, and the sun just happened to come out later in the evening, and it lifted then. I think for me, going getting outside and nature and trees and flowers and all that helps me kind of
Very
just
good.
calm
Yeah,
down a bit if I feel very hyper or I seem
brilliant.
to be to connect a bit more now with nature, which is my way of just so now I just say, okay, go outside and
Great.
spend a bit of time outside.
Brilliant. Yeah,
It's
brilliant.
just that thing to be able to know to listen to yourself because once you know it, it just actually then take the action and doing it. Just do it. It's
Yeah,
that.
Yeah, you just need to go and do it and
Yeah,
not
and
yeah.
and and for me, running used to be something like that when I would be very frustrated when I was
Mm.
running. I just said, just now it's the time to go for a run, and I knew for a fact that when I came back, I would be in a different place.
yeah. And again, the
What's
fresh
your
air can be very supportive. Like they say, even if you were to measure the benefits, and you see all of this stuff has been measured now by science, but like the difference between, say, going out into your garden or out onto your green and taking a few breaths in nature, which is really supportive, but even making the effort to go to a forest or a beach, the benefits will be multiple fold. Like the more we can immerse ourselves in nature, the greater the benefits, which is brilliant. But even, yeah, like a little snippet, a moment, a few breaths outside from this time of year on, or a cup of coffee outside in the morning, listening to the birds and the fresh air. Any moment we can build into our days like that is a moment of mindful awareness. And it all adds up. It's all an antidote to the stress, the natural, normal stress of life. Would anyone else like to add anything? Okay, so I'm going to close this with a little mini practice, inviting you to sit into your chair and maybe take your gaze away from the screen. When we're invited to notice the breath, I'm just wondering where it might feel apparent to you in your body now. For many people, it's the slightly cool air coming in through the nostrils. Or sometimes we can become aware of a kind of rise and fall in the body as the breath comes in and out. And maybe just for this practice, placing your hand on your chest or on your ribs or on your tummy, and just feeling that sensation of body filling as you breathe in and releasing as you breathe out. And maybe let's just make a little personal commitment now for the next few moments. Maybe just a little mantra to yourself. Just 3 breaths. Staying with this attention for just 3 more breaths. And then releasing the hand, and our quote for tonight: between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space lies our freedom to choose our response. In that choice lies our growth and our freedom. Just a very quick recap on your suggested home practice for tonight. And again, this has been emailed to you. I think it would be very supportive for you to fill in the blanks on what has drawn me to do the course in your own time throughout the week. And then practice for today is the 3-step anchor space. You have the recording of it, and you have the instructions in the book as well. I've also suggested before the 3 meals of your day, 3 mindful breaths. Just pause, your food is in front of you, and you just breathe 3 times, maybe even 1 breath. And then if you have time, and maybe even doing this daily, recapping the manual, what we have covered tonight, right up to the end of page 10, which concludes with home practice week 1. You also have in your course handbook a little home practice journal. So if you wanted to on a daily basis, and do feel free to get your own book and go bigger than this page, date, practice, and comments. And that's all. And it's just a little bit of getting to know thyself. So if you're happy to do so, I'll invite you to just switch on your video. And of course, you don't have to, and switch on your microphone and just say goodbye to the group. And we'll be seeing each other again this time next week. But I will send you a little email to follow up on tonight. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Have a lovely evening. And don't forget
Thank
your
you.
practice.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks,
Bye
everyone.
bye.
So
Thank
lovely to
you
have
very
you all
much.
here. Thanks, Pauline.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye
Okay.
bye.
Thank you for that.
You're
Bye.
welcome. Thanks for coming,
Bye.
Anna. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Where did you leave there?